I wasn't sure how I wanted to talk about this topic about kids shooting up schools and still going on. We know it happens. We know it's obscene. We know we don't want it to happen, and we don't do anything to show that we're stopping it. And there's some things I try to put together in an elegant way to maybe even sugarcoat. And that's not even my personality. But it comes out raw anyways. But this is a particular thing. I didn't even have time. Like literally, I just turn on the camera right now and I'm like looking at these news articles of another school shooting. And you know what's sad? In addition to the people who got killed, the kids who got killed, is the kind of environment that we currently live in that allows the existence of possibilities to exist like this. The kid that shot up people. He's another person to feel sorry for. A product of an environment that produced something so innocent, so young, because it's not like he raised himself. His parents, his society that influences and input of all these things that you should be and what you should sound and dress like into an output of what comes from the feelings of that. Do you care enough about yourself to not care? Do you have the kind of confidence that can withstand a world where it's always trying to force you to be a certain way when you don't want to, because your individuality stands to be different when people shame you for it? So it's a world where the victims get shamed and the person doing the damage is getting shamed. And then you have a point of no medium and no understanding of anything, because everybody's too busy pointing the fingers at everybody else to actually have some kind of compromise of understanding. And it's interesting because you would rather talk about sports statistics than the statistics of innocent kids that have doubled of a rate in suicide from since the pandemic started till now. We want to talk about who has the points on the scoreboard, who has the most, but we don't want to talk about how many kids are dying because they're taking a knife to their wrists. And it's interesting because I didn't know, like, this is stuff that I just currently, I keep up with, and I didn't know kids were killing themselves. I'm like 11 to 17 rates in suicide doubling. How? Why? What did they? How much of a life experience do you have to have before you just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm done? And it also doubled amongst adults. So suicide rates have gone up the roof. And we can't even stop the people from killing themselves because there's people already about to kill them that'll do it for them if they don't feel like it. So when in society do we start looking at everybody else that we normally don't look at? Like, we always point fingers at something so minute. Oh, you didn't take the vax. You didn't get the jab. Well, that 15-year-old over there has an M16 and he's about to shoot up a school. What about that guy? Or that 11-year-old over there is suffering from low self-esteem because social media is constantly bashing away his integrity of who he is or she is. And she's about to just take some pills and call it a night forever. How come we don't look at stuff like that that's been happening? The real epidemic is the lack of empathy and awareness that we have for each other. It's ignorance. That's the real epidemic. Ignorance has been here since Cain and Abel. When are we going to start being more aware? When are we going to start saying, hey, maybe we should care a little bit more, and then we can have a little bit more positivity in the world that we can spread around, opposed to all this negativity that's folding us, causing us to crumble over the circumstances that be. And it's sickening. It's sick. It's not a normal thing for this to happen. We are so numb by media. We are so numb by seeing death program to our senses from media that when we actually see it and it's actualized in real life, in this reality, we don't have an emotion for it. So we see it on the news and it's just a passing thought. Oh, somebody else killed a bunch of kids at school today. Oh, That's sad. And then you go back to what you're doing before. When does somebody say, hey, we should stop this? Who are their parents? Who? I'm not saying everybody has to be perfect, but there's some things that are bigger than us that we don't care for. Why? It's crazy. Anyways, putting it out there, dropping an album today, but looking at the world, I just don't see like there's certain things that are bigger than us that we don't pay attention to that are crushing us. And when is that going to stop? It can. And I'm not talking about you, me, and I'm talking about all of us together. We have the strength together as a unit of a combined effort of people, because there's so many of us, that we can change systems. We can inspire paradigm shifts for a whole new upgrade of thinking. But because there's so many of us, at the same time, we have so many differences. But we all want the same things: shelter, food, love, companionship. But we all act like we don't. And it's crazy. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. But when it comes to kids, the mind of a child is where the revolution begins. It's going to take generations to change how we are, if there's any type of peace to be achieved. But it has to start with the kids, and it has to flow within a generation to a generation thing, because it's not going to happen in our generation. But it has to start somewhere. So are we going to start it or stop it, or just keep going? I don't know. I don't even know who this video is for. It's for somebody. Maybe it's for me. Maybe it's for you. Who knows? This is just how I feel about it. I think it just needs to be put out there. So that's about it. I will say, lastly, almost forgot, came back on really quick. I have a movement that I started. It's called Other Mind Coalition. And I have a page on Instagram. You can find it, Other Mind Coalition, othermindcoalition.club. It has solutions for things like these. I don't just talk about them. I work on providing active solutions for issues like this. And it's in depth. And othermindcoalition.club is a place where I'm working on raising money for providing some of these solutions, to at my attempt to offer something different opposed to what we've been having in society. It has to start somewhere. It has to start from some mind. It has to grow from some soil. And that's what I'm attempting to provide. So that's my thing as far as adding and contributing something, because I've been working on it, not just talking about it. Technology's out there, might as well use it.